weeks right now. Last week, I let you in on the thought that we're going to be doing something really special. And this is the something really special. A few weeks ago, something happened. I posted it on my Facebook. And the car that you see, well, that was Erica. And Erica's here, and she's going to talk with me about the experience that she had of driving one day in November, not too long ago. So let me introduce you. This is my friend Erica.
Hi.
And Erica, maybe you can share a little bit. Tell a little bit about yourself, maybe, and what day this was, and what was happening, what you were thinking when those things began to happen. Maybe just tell people exactly what happened. But okay. Erica's going to tell us a little bit of herself and the story that we saw the picture of, okay?
So I am a senior nursing student at Washburn University, so I live here in Lawrence and drive to class and clinicals during the week. In the first week of November, I was skeptical about even going to class this day because it was snowy and icy and the drive can be dangerous, so I thought about not going, ended up going because it was an important simulation day, and so I went, and the weather continued to get bad as I was there in Topeka, and on the way back there was spots on the highway and I hit one of them and my car lost control and went in the ditch, and my car rolled or flipped, whichever way it was, front to back, so significant flips, like 3 of them, and I just remember waking up and realizing, remembered what had happened, and so I gathered some of my stuff and I crawled out through one of the shattered windows and I immediately ran to the edge of the road so I could find anyone that was driving by to help, or, I was a little bit in shock about the whole thing, and so a lady was driving by and she stopped and checked to make sure nothing was bleeding, anything was wrong like that, and then she helped me call the sheriff, and we got them there and we got an ambulance there, and so
Wow.
What happened.
So you actually flipped 3 times.
Yeah, my car flipped from front to back 3 times
Wow.
as I went in the ditch. So
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So you're driving home from Topeka about 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. What was it?
It was probably around 1 or 2
1 or 2
in the afternoon.
That's right, it was simulation. So okay, so was there a lot of traffic around you?
Luckily there was no cars around me when I went in the ditch because I went in the opposite ditch. And so I'm glad at that point there were no cars around, but the traffic on that road can sometimes be kind of scarce, and so when I opened my eyes and realized that my car was upside down, I was a little bit scared, like, as if anyone would find me or be able to come help me, because at the time I didn't know where my phone was at. It was somewhere in the car that had gotten thrown around, so I am lucky that there was someone there at that point, but not earlier when I had went through the other lane into the ditch.
So were you close to the road where your car ended?
No, it was pretty far away, and it actually was right by a tree, so
wow.
If you saw her pictures on Facebook, you can see there's a tree right there. I didn't hit it, but very close.
Which is another miracle that happened for you. Yeah, right. So, you saw the ice in front of you when you were approaching, and is that accurate? Or
yeah, I saw it, and so I slowed down, and then when my tires hit it, it spun my tires sideways, and So when my tires got traction again, it kind of spit me into the ditch because I was already facing that way because my car spun out on it. So
right. Okay, so now that was first week in November. So yeah, okay. So, if you can think back to that Monday afternoon, do you remember what was going through your mind when you saw the ice and when you began to flip in the car?
Well, when I first saw the ice, I knew probably not slamming on my brakes would help anything.
Right.
Probably make me slide more. And when my car spun, I was trying not to, spin the steering wheel back this way to try to get me going straight because I didn't want to go in the other ditch. So I tried to just keep hold of it as best as I could. And when I saw myself going for the ditch, I know I hit my head on the steering wheel, and I either closed my eyes or was passed out for a little bit, but when I opened my eyes, the car was upside down, and the windshield, the back window, all the windows were shattered, and so I can't exactly say what I was thinking right at that moment. All I knew is that when I opened my eyes and I was alive, it was a miracle. So.
Absolutely. And for anyone who saw the picture on my Facebook page or on wherever you shared that picture, there's been just tremendous amazement that you came out of it without more serious injury. You had some bruises.
I had some bruises and I had a few cuts on my hand. But other than that, that's really amazing that I didn't have any more injuries than that. But
well, I think my sentiments, and I think your sentiments are the same, that God was really taking care of you.
Yeah.
That was a miracle that you were able to come out of that.
Yeah.
In as good a shape as you were. And I just, I believe that God did a miracle for you. I believe that He did a miracle for me, that He preserved you, that you were able to come and still be able to be here to help me.
Yeah.
You didn't miss a heartbeat, which is kind of how it is for Erica. She doesn't miss a heartbeat. She's very faithful and friendly, and I appreciate her a lot. So I'm grateful that God spared you through that time, and your family is very grateful. So you went home to Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Not too long after that. What was that like with your family?
Well, my mom, she did not want me to leave again.
Right.
They were just really glad that I was okay and that, my car was totaled, so they helped me to get a new car, and I'm very grateful for that. They're just really thankful that I'm okay and had very minimal injuries, so.
I'm just making some guesses, but that maybe Thanksgiving had a kind of a deeper meaning for your family?
Yeah, they were really glad I was able to come home and spend some time with them, and I got to see my grandparents and my aunts and uncles, so it was a really special time, especially after thinking about what could have happened or things like that. It's nice to see your family and be very grateful for everything.
Exactly right, yeah. Well, how about maybe just talking a little bit about reflections from that day when you think back right now? What kind of things go through your mind as you kind of begin to grasp maybe more and more what a miracle God did for you that day, and that He spared your life, and because we all know it could have been so much different. The fact that your glass didn't shatter all over you, that you didn't have broken glass throughout your body and things like that. That's just a miracle. So, can you walk through some of the things that maybe you've thought about from that experience and how it's affected your faith, and what kind of things that God's put on your heart and mind?
Well, first and foremost, I just think, that in itself, walking away with minimal injuries from that type of accident is a miracle in itself.
Absolutely.
And my mom and my grandma, I was talking to them at Thanksgiving, and they were like, you definitely have God and a guardian angel or two by your side.
Absolutely.
So I think about that a lot, and
does that give you confidence?
Yes, it does. especially in nursing school.
Yeah.
But I also just think about, being grateful for everything in my life and everything I had the opportunity to do and things like that, that if it would have went a different way, I wouldn't have had those, I wouldn't have, so.
It's easy to see that life could have been dramatically altered in just a split second. And so, now it's Christmas time, and again, the opportunity to just have a very meaningful time with your family and to just reflect on how grateful your family is and people like me that you're still here. But truly, life could have been altered in a split second, and it doesn't always happen the way it did for you.
Yeah.
So I can just imagine that increases your thankful heart.
Oh, yes.
And that I know that you have special faith in that. My picture is that this encourages your faith. Is that right? Yeah. Can you maybe talk about how you feel like it's encouraged you and given you confidence to know that you have a good Heavenly Father that's looking out for you and that you have a guardian angel that's watching over you?
Yeah, well, with a lot of things in life, things get hard, things get rough, and so it's always good to look at God and that He's there watching. He has a plan. He's kind of walking you through essentially the steps of life and everything that most people go through, and so I just try to keep that in the back of my mind as I go through my everyday routines and go through school, and just know that He's always there watching, and so it just makes me feel more confident knowing that God is essentially making this life for me, helping me to know what's right and what's wrong, and all this about doing good and going to church and stuff like that. So I just try to keep all that in the back of my mind when I go through everyday life, when things get hard and things get rough, and it just gives me confidence.
Right. And you have a real present awareness that God is protecting you.
Yes.
So, first of all, I know that you're still a little bit cautious about driving right now. How are you feeling about that right now?
Well, it snowed again just a few days ago, and so
Right.
it definitely is a little bit scary. I don't really like driving on ice and snow. I used to not be too scared of it, but after seeing what can happen and how slick the roads can get and how unaware some people are, or how aware some people are, it's just, it just really opened my eyes to how dangerous it can be, and makes me a little bit more cautious. And
so maybe that's something that friends will pray for you that you'll be able to feel more confident when you're out there.
Yeah.
When you have to experience the elements that nobody likes to, but we have to sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Have you, and you can say yes or no, but what maybe your experiences, have you felt like God has spoken to your heart in some special way from your experience and what you went through with the accident?
Yeah, I think it definitely opened my heart a little bit more, knowing how many people were concerned and how many people were worried and praying for me and all this and that. It kind of opens my heart a little bit more to know that God has all these people around me that love me and also want and need me here, and so it does open my heart a little bit more in a lot of different ways.
I think I maybe shared with you, maybe I didn't, but when I first saw your note, you sent me a text message with a picture, and that morning, my friend who was here asked about you, and I said, well, I sent you a text, but I hadn't heard back, so I thought maybe everything's fine. I just make guesses sometimes. And then after that, I saw your text, and my friend had gone out for a couple minutes and came back, and I was kind of okay. And as I was sharing with my friend, I shared the picture that you sent in your car, and I said, well, that was Erica. And I got really emotional right then, because I just realized, that God had his hand on you, that the angels were around you, that he was protecting you. I don't know the scientific things, I say that word lightly when it concerns angels, but I believe that they're angels. I believe that they're watching over us. I believe that they're God's ministering angels that are in our lives to help us and to protect us and to guide us. But it was emotional for me when I began to share with my friend about that picture, and she said, oh my gosh, she said, I was just asking you about Erica. And I said, I just found this out. So, yeah, there are a lot of people around you that love you, that care about you, and continue to pray for you. How are things physically for you right now?
They're better. The bruises that I had all went away, and I was sore for maybe a week or so, but after that it got a lot better. So it's physically I'm a lot better.
No soreness? No. Oh, yeah.
Not at all.
We just say thank you, Jesus. That's a major miracle. That's just a continued evidence that God is watching out, because who could go through an experience like Erica did, where your car is flipped over 3 times, front to back, not even rolled sideways, but flipped over, front to back, and walk away without more injury or soreness or permanent damage, which could have been a reality for Erica. I think she's very aware of that. And I think that produces in Erica a very present gratefulness for how God took care of her and spared her life and spared her family a lot of pain, and me as well, because I would have had a lot of pain in my life if you'd had something more serious happen to you injury-wise. Not just for me physically, because I know you're a great help for me, and but emotionally and relationally in every way, because you're a good friend and you're a special person to me. So that produces a gratefulness in me that God took care of me in that situation. And so I hope I'm able to share this for tomorrow's weekly encouragement, because it's Thursday evening right now, and I wanted to do something special this week as we lead into Christmas right now, because this will be my Christmas message more or less, that God is a very present help in times of trouble, and that's from the Psalms, and that Jesus came, and that his name is Emmanuel, which means God with us. And so Erica is a living testimony that God is with us today.
Yes.
And I know that does something very deep and really in her heart and mine too. And I hope that for the purpose of this incredibly special weekly encouragement, that it will do something special in your heart too. And that as you enter into your Christmas this week, that you'll have a very real awareness, and that you'll feel the presence of the Holy Spirit, and that you'll know that God is with you if you follow after him, and that he protects us. can just imagine. Maybe that's a story for some of you right now. I think I just want to say, Eric and I both want to say Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
And we have a very blessed Christmas season, and that you've enjoyed this very special edition of the Weekly Encouragement. Let me hear from you, okay? I'm always happy to hear from people after the Weekly Encouragement, so please be encouraged to say hello and let me know what your thoughts are. And maybe if you want to say hello to Erica, you can let me know that too, okay? All right, God bless. And let me just close with one last thing. Let's say a fast prayer. Would that be okay?
Yep.
Okay. Erica, would you like to pray? Would you like
I'll
to?
let you do.
You want me to? Okay, I'll pray. So, dear Lord, we just thank you for this time. Thank you for anointing the moments that Eric and I had to talk to you. Father, we pray that you would continue to put your hand of protection on Erica and on friends and others who are traveling in whatever weather they're experiencing this winter. We pray to give Eric continued confidence, Father, in your love and increase your trust in you daily. We pray that for each of us, Lord, and for those who are listening to the Weekly Encouragement, Father, that you would just increase our trust in you. Lord, that we would know in a deeper and very meaningful way that your love is for us. And Father, that Christmas is your breaking into our world to show your love. And you gave us a real example of what happened with Eric in the accident, Lord, your protection and your preservation. So Father, bless Eric and bless friends of the Weekly Encouragement, and be with us this Christmas, and help us to turn our hearts to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Amen.